Capturing sharp action shots requires understanding key camera settings and techniques to freeze motion effectively. The process starts with controlling the shutter speed, as this setting plays the most significant role in freezing movement. A fast shutter speed, such as 1/1000 of a second or faster, is ideal for subjects in rapid motion, like athletes or wildlife. Slower shutter speeds may result in motion blur, so adjusting to the speed of the action is crucial. Using the right focusing mode is equally important. Continuous autofocus, often labeled as AI Servo or AFC depending on your camera, helps track moving subjects and ensures they remain in focus as they shift within the frame. Pair this with a focus point system, and you can lock onto your subject accurately. Selecting a single point or a small group of focus points often gives more precise results compared to relying on broader automatic focus areas. Next, adjust your aperture to balance depth of field and light. A wider aperture, lower f number, lets in more light, which is useful in fast action scenarios where a high shutter speed is necessary. However, a narrow depth of field can make it challenging to keep the subject sharp if it moves unpredictably. Striking the right balance depends on how much background separation you desire and the lighting conditions you're working with. ISO settings should also be considered carefully. To maintain a fast shutter speed in low light conditions, you might need to increase the ISO. Modern cameras handle high ISO levels better than older models, minimizing noise in your shots. Aim for the lowest ISO possible to preserve image quality, but don't hesitate to raise it if freezing the motion is your priority. Stability plays a big role in ensuring sharpness. Even though you're using fast shutter speeds, a steady hand or a stable platform can make a difference. For extreme scenarios, consider using a monopod or tripod with a gimbal head to follow your subject smoothly. These tools reduce unwanted vibrations and help maintain sharpness during panning or rapid shooting. The timing of your shots also matters. Anticipating movement and being ready to capture the peak of action is key. Observing patterns or rhythms in the activity you're photographing helps you predict where the subject will be. For example, in sports, understanding the rules or common movements allows you to preemptively position yourself and your camera for the perfect moment. Burst mode, or continuous shooting, is invaluable for action photography. By taking a series of shots in quick succession, you increase the chance of capturing the decisive moment. Most cameras allow you to adjust the burst speed, so choose one that balances the number of frames with your memory card's capacity and the overall pace of the action. Lighting conditions also influence sharpness. In bright daylight, fast shutter speeds are easier to achieve, but in dim or artificial lighting, challenges arise. Supplementing natural light with external flashes or LED panels can help illuminate the subject, ensuring it stands out sharply against the background. However, using artificial light requires careful placement to avoid harsh shadows or overexposed areas. Panning is another useful technique for capturing sharp action shots while conveying a sense of motion. This involves moving the camera in the same direction as the subject's movement during exposure. A slightly slower shutter speed, such as 1/30 or 1/60 of a second, allows the background to blur while keeping the subject sharp. This requires practice and steady movement to execute effectively. Lens choice also has a major impact. Telephoto lenses are commonly used for action photography because they let you zoom in on distant subjects, such as wildlife or athletes on a field. A lens with image stabilization can be particularly helpful, as it reduces the effects of minor camera shakes, even at long focal lengths. Wide apertures on these lenses also make it easier to use faster shutter speeds in challenging light. Maintaining your equipment is another step toward ensuring sharp shots. Clean your lens to avoid dust or smudges that can reduce image clarity. Regularly update your camera's firmware to benefit from improved autofocus systems or other enhancements provided by the manufacturer. Having a well-maintained camera ensures reliable performance in demanding scenarios. Knowing how to compose your shots adds to their overall sharpness and impact. Positioning the subject according to the rule of thirds, leading lines, or other compositional techniques draws attention to the action. Including elements in the background or foreground can add context, but be mindful not to clutter the frame and distract from the main subject. Practicing these techniques regularly helps you improve over time. Testing your settings in controlled environments before heading into live-action scenarios can build your confidence. For example, photographing cars on a busy street or animals in a park lets you experiment with shutter speed, focus modes, and panning without the pressure of missing an important moment. Finally, reviewing your images critically is a vital step. Check for focus accuracy, motion blur, and proper exposure. Learn from any mistakes by identifying what went wrong, such as using too slow a shutter speed or misjudging focus. Post-processing software can also help sharpen your images, but it's always better to capture sharp shots in camera whenever possible. By mastering these techniques, you can consistently achieve sharp action shots, no matter the scenario. Practice and patience will refine your skills, enabling you to adapt to different challenges and make the most of any fast-paced opportunity.